Everyone says I am the most vicious woman in the capital. My husband went off to war for 6 months and brought back a beautiful pregnant woman. The very next day, I had her punished. The whole city was in an uproar, calling me cruel and vicious. But what they didn't know was, if I hadn't made the first move, the entire Huo Manor would have been destroyed.
Madam, I'm back. This is Lu Qie. She saved my life on the battlefield. She is all alone in the world and is currently pregnant. I really couldn't bear to leave her, so I brought her back with me.
Qie pays her respects to Madam. Please do not blame the general, Madam. It is just my own bitter fate that has burdened the general.
My lady, Qie is a pitiful soul. Let her stay in the manor from now on, so we can look after her.
A pitiful soul? She is indeed very pitiful.
After all, the child in my womb is of the general's blood.
I do not ask for any status. I only ask for a place to stay and to watch my child grow up from afar.
You misunderstand. I meant you indeed shouldn't have entered these doors.
Madam, what do you mean by that? Qie is carrying my child. I must take full responsibility. Jinglan, you have always been generous. Just let her stay. When the child is born, we will register it under your name, and it will be considered your child as well.
Under my name? Are you certain, General, that this is truly your child?
Madam, what do you mean by that? Qie was a virgin when she chose to follow me, and the timing matches perfectly.
A virgin? Miss Liu, since you are carrying the general's child and have endured such a bumpy journey, have you been properly examined by a doctor? How about we have the manor's physician take a look?
No, there is no need.
We should still let the estate's doctor take a proper look. If it really is the general's child, I naturally won't treat her poorly, but if someone wants to pass off a fake as the real thing, I hate being treated like a fool the most.
There is no need to call a doctor. Qie is just afraid of causing trouble. My lady, General, why don't we let Qie settle in first and discuss this further later?
Madam, why must you press so hard? She has had a long and exhausting journey. Let her rest first.
Very well.
Qie, thanks you, Madam.
Xie Jinglan, how can you be so ruthless? To not even spare a helpless pregnant woman.
General. Madam, she resents me. She resents the child in my womb. She simply cannot tolerate me.
Cannot tolerate? Right, I indeed cannot tolerate it. After all, I have no hobby of raising other people's children.
What did you say? Xie Jinglan, make yourself clear.
The general might as well think about it. You and I have been married for many years. Why have we never had any children? Are you saying there is something wrong with me? Or is it that the general cannot father a child at all? If the general's body is unwell, then where did the fetus in her womb come from?
Xie Jinglan, how insolent. What could possibly be wrong with me? You are merely relying on your family's power to deliberately humiliate Qie and confuse the issue.
Whether it is confusing the issue, we will know once the doctor performs an examination. If you do not trust the estate's doctor, I can also immediately go to the palace and request an imperial physician.
Why should I let you call a doctor? Since when is it your turn to make such a scene in the inner household?
Right now, I have the final say in the Huo family's inner household. Guards.
General, save me. Have mercy, Madam. Qie has learned her lesson. Qie will never dare do it again.
Learned your lesson. What did you do wrong?
Qie shouldn't have offended Madam. Please forgive me, Madam.
Just offended me? General, didn't you want to take full responsibility? Then why don't we first clear up the origin of this child?
You, Xie Jinglan, you disappoint me too much.
Isn't it a bit too early for the general to be disappointed?
Forgive me, General. You have fought on the battlefield for years, and your old injuries are too severe. Particularly, your lower back and abdomen suffered heavy trauma, meaning, with offspring, you are destined to have none. Lady Lu's current pulse indicates she is at least 3 months pregnant.
How is that possible? 3 months.
No, it is not true. It must be a misdiagnosis. I was frightened all along the way, and my pregnancy is unstable. It is possible to miscalculate the month.
A woman's pregnancy month might differ by a few days, but it is impossible to be off by more than a whole month.
Does the general still want to say this child is yours?
Not my child. Impossible. Impossible.
What is so impossible about it? Keeping it from you before was to save your face, but since you insist on throwing your face on the ground to be trampled, I won't bother anymore either. You had better remember today's matter. I, Xie Jinglan, do not tolerate betrayal, and even less do I tolerate anyone treating me like a fool, playing tricks in front of me.
Whose child is this, after all?
General, please believe me. Qie has only been with you. They are all helping Madam to harm me.
Then explain to me why the months of the pregnancy don't match up.
The child in your womb is certainly resilient to have survived all of this. It seems you won't confess until you're faced with grim reality. You must recognize this person. Tell us when you examined Lady Liu. How long had she been pregnant?
This old woman, when I took her pulse in the 2nd month, she was already over a month pregnant. At that time, she was still in the brothel of the border town.
She is lying. She is framing me. General, do not believe her.
Xie, is what she said true?
No, of course not. General, you know me. I am pure and innocent. How could I do such a thing? Madam must have bribed her.
Bribed?
Greetings, General. Greetings, Madam.
You are under Deputy General Wang's command.
Yes, Deputy General Wang mentioned Lady Liu before his death. She was originally a brothel worker in the border town and was already pregnant when she was with the Deputy General. The Deputy General was kind-hearted, thinking it would be pitiful for the child to be born without status. He temporarily claimed her as his cousin. After the Deputy General died, she stayed by the General's side.
You are lying. You have all conspired to ruin me.
Lady Liu, even on his deathbed, the Deputy General thought of leaving money for you and the child. Yet, you immediately clung to the General. Are you not ashamed to face him?
So the child in your womb is not mine at all. And you didn't approach me because you were helpless and alone. You have been lying to me from the very beginning.
Can't take this already? Huo Changting, the person you brought back, is far more than just a liar. This was carried by Liu Qie. She dropped it outside just now. Northern Dai Secret Code and the insignia of the Northern Dai Royal Court's secret guard for a brothel woman from a border town. How could Lady Liu have such a thing on her?
You are from Northern D.
Since you've seen through me, then you can all go to hell. You.
Is this all you've got? A mere spy, carrying a child of unknown origin, is not worthy of entering the gates of my Huo Manor. General, we must dress your wound immediately. Simone, drag her down and lock him in the dungeon. Have the physician tend to her wounds. I want her alive.
Yes.
General, the next time you bring someone back to the manor, make sure you thoroughly investigate their background first. After all, not everyone can clean up your messes every single time. Have you figured it out yet? Will you speak of your own accord, or shall I extract the answers from you bit by bit?
Xie Jinglan, do you really think you've won?
Otherwise, do you look like a winner in your current state?
Huo Changting will never let you get away with this. I am the one he brought back by pushing me this far.
Him? Liu Qie. You're still hoping Huo Changting will save you even now? How incredibly naive. You are merely a stray object he picked up in a moment of soft-heartedness. As of now, the only value you have left is the intelligence locked inside your head. Speak, what mission did Beatty send you here to carry out? Aside from getting close to Huo Changting, who is your contact? The border troop rotation schedules, provision routes, and defensive maps. How much of it have you obtained? Not talking? Bring in the medicine we prepared.
What is this?
The child in your womb cannot be kept.
No, you can't touch my child. This is my child.
A child carried by a spy, left here in the Huo Manor. Do you really think I would spare it?
Once Huo Changting finds out, he will never forgive you.
If he still has any sense of priority, he wouldn't protect you. If he can't tell, then I'll gladly do it for him. Pour it down her throat.
My baby. My baby.
Are you willing to speak now?
Xie Jinglan, you will meet a terrible end.
What kind of end I meet is none of your concern, but if you still refuse to speak, I guarantee you will end up looking far worse than you do now.
Sure. I'll talk. My mission was to get close to Huo Changting to obtain the schedule for the northern border garrison rotation and the supply transport routes. My contact is the owner of the Juyuan pawn shop in the west of the city. I only obtained 1/3 of the defense maps.
What else?
Nothing else. I've told you everything I know.
Liu Qie, remember this. Don't be a spy in your next life. And certainly don't cross me.
General, save me. For the sake of my past service to you, please spare my life. I am willing to serve you like a slave. I only ask to live.
My lady, since she has already confessed, why don't we?
Why don't we what? Why don't we spare her life? Has the general forgotten that she is a beady spy? She got close to you for military intelligence, and the child in her womb is not of your bloodline either.
I understand, but she…
General, if you spare her today and the beady cavalry truly breaches the heavenly pass tomorrow, who will plead for a way out for the people of Dasheng? Huo Changting, remember this. You are a general of Dasheng, not a son-in-law of Beatty. If you can't even distinguish right from wrong, you might as well strip off that armor.
General, save me.
Take her away. Deal with her, according to the rules. Compile the evidence of her treason and post it outside the manor gates.
Xie Jinglan.
Does the general have anything else to say?
Do you have to be so ruthless?
When she was scheming against you, did you ever think that the Huo household would be dragged down with you? Now that we have both the evidence and her confession, you actually blame me for being heartless. What? Does the general want the entire Huo family to be buried with her?
My lady, the old madam sent someone to ask.
To ask what?
To ask why there is such a great disturbance in the manor. She said it is quite terrifying and asked to have the matter suppressed quickly.
Go tell the old madam that I have dealt with a spy. If she finds it terrifying, then close her courtyard gates tightly and do not come out to cause trouble.
My lady.
Report back exactly as I said. After Liu Qiyu was dealt with, Huo Changting went on sick leave and hid in his study, refusing to see anyone.
Madam, a cousin has arrived at the gates.
Which cousin?
It is cousin Shen Qingwan, the second young lady from the family of the general's aunt. She said she heard the general is ill and came specifically to visit.
Invite her in.
Qingwan greets sister-in-law. Hearing that my cousin is ill, I was truly worried, so I took the liberty of coming. I hope sister-in-law will not mind. Visiting the sick is ordinary enough, but the general is gravely ill, and it is not convenient for him to receive guests. Is my cousin's illness very serious? Last night I even dreamed that he fell from his horse, and I woke up startled, unable to sleep well all night.
The physician said it is a rush of anger to his heart. He will recover after a few days of rest. You are very thoughtful, cousin.
That is good to hear, but I also heard that something happened in the manor a few days ago.
A spy was dealt with. Cousin, if you are easily frightened, you should avoid going out these next few days.
A spy? Oh my goodness. How could such a person be by cousin's side? Is cousin all right then?
The general is fine. Cousin, if you have no other business, please head back for now. The general needs quiet rest.
Cousin's wife, I want to see cousin in person. Even just saying a few words through the door would be fine. Otherwise, I truly cannot put my mind at ease.
No.
Cousin's wife, I am only worried about cousin, with absolutely no other intentions. Please show some leniency.
Cousin, what are you doing? Those who do not know would think I am mistreating you. Samane, see the young mistress out.
Young mistress, this way, please.
Then I will come to visit cousin another day.
Go tell the people at the study that anything sent by the young mistresses is strictly forbidden from entering the general's mouth. And another thing, add an extra dose of calming herbs to the general's medicine tonight.
Yes, madam.
Shen Qingwan indeed did not give up. She came again the next day. This time she brought a bowl of rock sugar stewed pears she made herself, saying it could moisten the lungs and relieve coughing. I still did not let her see Huo Changting. I did accept the item though, but I immediately had the maid pour it into the flower bed. At dinner, on the fourth day, Huo Changting made a rare appearance at the main courtyard.
General, madam, the young mistress has arrived. She says she has an urgent matter and must see the general.
At this late hour, what could be so urgent?
The young mistress did not say. She only said it is of great importance.
Since cousin has an urgent matter, then let her in.
Cousin, sister-in-law, please save me.
What is the meaning of this? Get up first, and then we will talk.
I won't get up. My family is arranging a marriage for me. It is to the foolish son of Member Liu from the east side of town. When I refused, my parents locked me up. I sneaked out. Cousin, please save me. Cousin, I would rather die than marry him. Please let me stay in your manor for a few days. Once my parents' anger has subsided, I will go back and beg them.
Madam, about this.
Your family matters, cousin, are not for us outsiders to interfere in. Besides, the Huo Manor is currently in a state of turmoil. For an unmarried young lady like you to move in, it would not be good for your reputation if word got out.
I don't care. Sister-in-law, I only beg for a place to stay. I will absolutely not cause any trouble. I beg of you.
You are overreacting, cousin. It is not that I am being unreasonable, but rules are rules.
Cousin, do you really have the heart to watch me jump into a fiery pit? I have looked up to you as my own brother since childhood.
My lady, why not let her stay for a few days? Once things quiet down at her home, we will send her back.
Since the general has spoken, then stay. Qingdai, take the young lady to the west wing and settle her in.
Yes.
Thank you, sister-in-law. Thank you, cousin.
Madam, thank you for your understanding.
No need, but there is something I must say beforehand. If you truly value your cousinly bond, General, then keep your distance and do not do anything that would make it awkward for either of you.
What do you mean by that, madam? My feelings for Qingwan are strictly brotherly.
Let's hope so.
Madam, the young lady has been settled in. Among her belongings, there was a small porcelain bottle. I took a quick look inside. It doesn't seem like anything decent.
Oh,
It looks like an aphrodisiac.
I see. Have someone keep a close eye on her. Also, double the general's medicine dosage tonight.
Yes.
Cousin. Cousin.
Cousin, dressed indecently in the dead of night, barging into a man's study. Is this how the Shen family raises their daughters?
Sister-in-law, let me explain. I saw how hard my cousin was working, so I brought him a late-night snack.
A late-night snack? The scent of this soup is rather peculiar.
No, not mine. Someone is framing me. Cousin, wake up. You have to believe me.
Qingwan, why are you here?
This bowl of soup, it is a gesture of your cousin's affection. Would you like to try it, General?
Shen Qingwan, how could you do such a thing?
It wasn't me. It was sister-in-law. She framed me. She forced me to do this.
Shen Qingwan, your family never arranged a marriage for you. The young master Liu you mentioned passed away last month. Your stay at the Huo Manor was a lie. Your true intention was to get close to the general. As for that bottle of medicine you had your maid buy this afternoon, shall I bring her in to confront you? Seize her. Throw her out of the manor.
No, you can't do this to me. I am a lady of the Shen family. I will tell my parents. I'll tell my aunt.
Go ahead, let the entire capital hear how the young lady of the Shen family, in the dead of night, running over to bring her cousin drugged soup in the dead of night, and sneaking into a man's study.
Cousin, save me.
Drag her down.
Send word to the Shen family and tell Lord and Lady Shen that if they still can't discipline their daughter, it won't end so easily next time.
My lady, I didn't know she would do such a thing.
You didn't know? General, there are many things in this world you don't know, but I want you to remember, I will not tolerate filth in my sight, whether it is a spy or a cousin who doesn't know her place. The day after Shen Qingwan was thrown out of the manor, Lady Shen came.
Niece-in-law, no. Madam General. That girl Qingwan lost her mind for a moment to do something so shameless. Please be magnanimous and forgive her this once. Madam Qingwan already knows she was wrong. She is now throwing tantrums and threatening suicide at home. Her reputation is completely ruined. How is she ever going to get married in the future? Please show some mercy and don't let this spread any further.
Spread further? Your daughter made such a scene outside the gates last night. Dozens, if not 100, people saw it. Does this really need me to spread it?
We can explain. We'll say Qingwan was sleepwalking or that she had a sudden fit of hysteria.
Do you think anyone will believe that? If you had known this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Go back and pass a message to Shen Qingwan. If there is a next time, it won't be as simple as being thrown out of the manor gates. See the guest out.
Kneel, she.
May this daughter-in-law ask mother, what wrong have I committed that I must kneel?
You still dare to ask. You stripped Shen Qingwan of her clothes and threw her out of the manor gates, causing a massive scandal all over the city. You have completely disgraced the Hua family.
I am the one who disgraced the Hua family? Mother, why don't you first ask your precious niece why she tried to crawl into my husband's bed with a bloated belly, and ask Huo Changting why he was so utterly blind to bring such trash into our estate.
Presumptuous. How dare you speak to your elder like that?
I am merely stating the facts. The fact that I didn't have her drowned is already showing great mercy to the Shen family.
Xie Jinglan, no matter what, Qingwan is still my cousin. Why must you take things to such extremes?
Cousin, if you truly saw her as a cousin, you wouldn't have let her crawl onto your bed.
No matter what Qingwan did wrong, you, as a wife, should not be so overbearing. You have been married into the Huo family for years without bearing a child. You are already at fault. And now, you are acting so utterly consumed by jealousy.
Without bearing a child, so we should just let filth be sent into the general's bedchamber. Second great uncle, by your logic, should your daughter-in-law, who hasn't borne a son in 3 years, also be thrown out to sleep with random men?
Do you even know the 7 grounds for divorce?
The 7 grounds. Great uncle, you say that so lightly. It might not even be my issue. You are all so eager to pin the blame on me. Are you feeling guilty, or are you just afraid to investigate?
Xie Jinglan.
You have been presumptuous enough.
We called you here today not to listen to your clever arguments. Changting is no longer young, and he has no heirs. Since you cannot carry on the Hua family line, you should be more virtuous. As his mother, I shall take concubines for him.
There is no rush, no rush.
When your father was your age, he already had 3 sons. Regarding this matter today, you must agree whether you want to or not.
I understand your meaning, mother. It is good that you understand.
Rest assured, you will always be the primary wife. If any of them dare to disrespect you in the future, I will naturally make decisions on your behalf.
Mother, are you finished speaking?
What do you mean?
What I mean is, not just anyone is worthy of interfering in the Huo estate's inner courtyard. Whoever dares to force women into Huo Changting's bed, I will cut off their hands.
What did you say?
Say that again. I said whoever dares to meddle in the inner courtyard of the Huo estate. Whoever dares to force women on the general. Don't blame me for showing no respect.
Xie Jinglan, have you lost your mind?
Precisely because you are my mother-in-law, I am only putting things on the table today. If you insist on interfering, then do not blame me for showing no mercy.
Rebellion. This is absolute rebellion. You wicked woman. I will open the ancestral hall. I will have Changting divorce you.
Second granduncle, before opening the ancestral hall, why don't you open the door to your own backyard first? Look at.
What do you mean by that?
The concubine your 3rd son took in the year before last. Was she really taken in for your son? Does second grandaunt know about this? And those grandchildren of yours, do they know they suddenly have a new elder in the family?
You slander me.
Whether they are baseless accusations, you know very well in your heart. First granduncle, don't you love talking about family values and rules? And another thing, is that shop in your hands doing completely legitimate business? Do you want me to find someone to audit the account books for you too? Why are you silent now?
What on earth do you want to do?
I don't want to do anything. I just want to live my life in peace. In the inner courtyard of the Huo estate, I have the final say. If anyone is not convinced, feel free to try me. Mother, escort the old madam back to her room. Then invite a physician to prescribe some calming medicine. Remember to watch the old madam take it on time.
Madam, the old madam is awake. She is throwing a tantrum in her room and refusing to drink it.
If she refuses to drink her medicine, just have the servants keep watch. Whenever she drinks it, that is when they can stop. From this day forward, the old madam's diet, medicine, and daily routine will all follow my rules. If she gets overly agitated, have someone keep her company and do not let her leave her courtyard again.
How dare you?
General, the old madam has just retired for the night. The madam ordered that she must not be disturbed.
Let him go to the military camp for some peace and quiet. It is a good opportunity for him to clear his head.
But there is already some gossip out there. They are saying the general isn't coming home because of the madam. They also say the madam cannot bear children, yet she won't allow the general to take a concubine. She is bound to be divorced sooner or later. Some people also said they saw the general going to Xie.
When did this happen?
Just these past few nights. People have seen the general's carriage parked nearby. Madam, are you not going to do anything about this? If the general really spends time in a place like that, once word gets out.
So what if word gets out? But you did remind me of something. Instead of constantly dealing with these awful people and matters, it is better to resolve this from the root. Keep an eye on him. Report back immediately if there is any movement.
My lady, the general has booked Miss Hongxiu's services at Xie Jinglan tonight.
Prepare a horse.
My dear madam, our establishment.
Step aside.
My dear madam, what are you doing?
Huo Changting, which room is he in?
General Huo? The general didn't come to our place tonight. Madam, perhaps you've...
On the second floor, in the Heaven Suite, Miss Hongshu's room.
Who is that? How dare she barge right in?
I recognize her. That is Madam Xie of the Huo Manor.
Now there is really a show to watch.
Xie Jinglan, what are you doing here?
General, who is this?
I am the general's rightfully wedded first wife. You seem to be in quite a jovial mood tonight, General.
My wife, let me explain. I was just having a few drinks here.
Does drinking require you to loosen your robes like this?
You must be joking, madam. The general was merely chatting with me and having a few drinks to relieve his boredom.
Xie Jinglan, have you not made enough of a scene? I am an official of the imperial court. What is wrong with me coming out for a drink? Did you really have to chase me to a place like this and throw away all of our dignity?
The one throwing away dignity is you, a general who sits in a brothel, drinking with his arms around another woman.
You make all the decisions in the manor all day long, and mother was so angered by you that she fell ill. Am I not even allowed to come out and sit for a while, to catch my breath?
Catching your breath in a woman's arms?
I didn't do anything.
General, that is not what you were saying just now. Didn't you say the lady at home is too overbearing and not nearly as understanding and gentle as I am?
Shut up.
You are Hongsu?
Yes. Do you have any advice for me, madam?
Hardly advice. I just think you chose the wrong man tonight. Close the doors. Everyone else, clear them all out.
Xie Jinglan, what on earth are you trying to do? Are you insane?
Don't you love this place? Then today, I will make you see clearly exactly what you have left.
Xie Jinglan, what do you want to do?
Sign the divorce papers. From this day forward, your filthy affairs can rot with you. I, Xie Jinglan, will no longer be a part of it.
Divorce? You actually prepared this long ago?
It is not that I prepared it long ago. It is you who brought yourself to this step by step.
My lady, I was just temporarily confused. Nothing happened between us. Don't take things to this extreme. I'll go back.
Huo Changting, I gave you dignity time and time again. It was you who refused it.
My lady, I was wrong. I was truly wrong.
I'll give you two choices. Sign now, or wait until the people from the brothel barge in, and let the entire capital city see you, the general of agile cavalry, disheveled, kneeling here and begging me. Sign it.
Xie Jinglan, we have been husband and wife for years. Are you truly this heartless?
Heartless, Huo Changting. You were the one who abandoned your dignity first. Sign. Don't make me say it a second time.
Are you satisfied now?
This is a warning, not the interest. Huo Changting, remember this. Tonight, I will have my people take inventory of my dowry overnight. If you ever cross me again, what you lose won't just be this divorce agreement. I moved out of the Huo estate and had Qing Dai take the guards to deliver the divorce agreement to the government office for registration. Early the next morning, I saw Huo Changting at the entrance again.
Jinglan. Xie Jinglan.
General Huo, we are already divorced. Please show some self-respect.
Divorced. Xie Jinglan, you forced me to sign that night. How can it count? I never wanted a divorce. We have been husband and wife for so many years. Is there anything we can't sit down and discuss properly?
Discuss properly? When General Huo was holding the courtesan at Zuichun brothel, why didn't you think of discussing things properly with me?
Come back with me. Mother is still ill, and the household is in utter chaos. It cannot function without you. Let us start anew.
No, the signatures and thumbprints are done, and it has been registered at the government office. Everything between you and me is already over.
Are you truly this heartless?
From the moment you brought Liu Qiyue into the estate, and from the moment you allowed Shen Qingwan to come to our door, whatever was between us was already broken.
Just give me one last chance. I will listen to you and everything from now on.
Your so-called listening is just deceiving me time and time again, and then kneeling down to beg for my forgiveness.
Pretending we can live a good life just like in the beginning.
Huo Changting, the person you used to be died a long time ago.
Xie Jinglan, do you really have to push me this far?
What did I push you to do?
If you insist on this divorce, then do not blame me for disregarding our past affection. How Liu Qie was ruined, how Shen Qingwan was driven out, and the chaos at Zui Chunfeng that night. Do you think the people outside know nothing about these things? If I expose all of this, do you think you will still have a place to stand in the capital?
Whatever you want to say, go ahead and say it. However, let me remind you of one thing. Even though I am now several steps removed from the Xie family, what kind of people they are, you should know very well in your heart.
I am not slandering you. Those are simply the facts.
The facts? Liu Qie was a beta spy, which is on record at the Ministry of War. Shen Qingwan snuck into a man's study at night. Even the Shen family themselves dare not claim her. As for that night at Zui Chunfeng, it was you, Huo Changting, who lost control while drunk and caused a scene.
And now you try to shift the blame onto me.
If you insist on continuing this relentless harassment, I do not mind letting you see what it truly means to turn against you completely. Let's go.
How jealous and ruthless the wife of General Piaoqi is.
General Huo is truly pitiable.
Forcing away his cousin, causing a scene at the brothel, using a fire to force a divorce.
Madam, how can they talk such nonsense? Clearly, it is all Huo Changting's fault.
Let them talk.
But if this continues, your reputation, madam.
Reputation. Qingdai, do you think I care about reputation? Reputation is for women who rely on men to survive. I have no need for it. Still, Huo Changting's relentless badgering is indeed annoying. I must find an opportunity to cut ties with him once and for all.
Madam, an invitation has arrived from the palace. A banquet will be held in 7 days to celebrate the victory in the Northern Territory. You are invited to the palace to attend.
Perfect timing.
Your Majesty, I have something to say, though I do not know if it is appropriate.
Speak freely, Minister.
I have heard that General Huo Changting of the Agile Cavalry and his wife, Lady Xie, have recently divorced. This is a domestic matter, so I should not have spoken of it. However, General Huo is a key general of the court, and Lady Xie also holds a title of nobility. Their divorce has caused a huge uproar in the city, which ultimately damages the dignity of the court. I have also heard that the reason for this divorce is highly suspicious.
General Huo, is this indeed the case?
Your Majesty, I do have a matter of great difficulty. I was married to my wife for 10 years. We should have treated each other with mutual respect, but she has a fierce temperament and is highly suspicious and jealous. I merely intended to take a concubine to secure an heir, yet my wife obstructed it in every possible way, and even vented her anger on innocent people. Having no other choice, I had to divorce her to preserve the reputation of my family.
Lady Xie, is what General Huo said true?
Your Majesty, every single word General Huo said is false.
Your Majesty, I have witnesses. The maids and servants in my estate can all testify.
By witnesses, does General Huo mean the maid Chengxin who suddenly vanished, or Shen Qingwan who sneaked into a man's study at night and was taken back by the Shen family overnight?
You slander me.
Whether it is slander or not, we can find out with a simple investigation. Your Majesty, I also have something I would like Your Majesty to look over. This is what I have recently uncovered regarding General of the Agile Cavalry Huo Changting's negligence and lack of virtue, allowing a beady spy to get close to him, which almost compromised Your Majesty.
What evidence? Present it. Huo Changting, how dare you?
Your Majesty, I am wronged. This is all a frame-up by Xie Jinglan. She holds a grudge because of the divorce, and deliberately fabricated these charges.
Your Majesty, General Huo and I were husband and wife for 10 years. If I did not have solid evidence in hand, I would never easily accuse him in court. These letters and notes can be compared with General Huo's usual reports. The sources of these accounts can also be verified through the Huo family shops. As for Liu Qie, the fact that he is a beady spy, the Ministry of War has long had records of.
No. Xie Jinglan forced him to make wild accusations. It was she who deliberately guided him.
Your Majesty, regarding the case of the Liu family, Minister Zhou of the Ministry of War knows best.
Replying to Your Majesty, Liu was indeed a beady spy. This was verified previously. The confession he gave in the Hua residence is also archived in the Ministry of War. It indeed mentions General Huo.
Huo Changting, what else do you have to say? Your Majesty, I want to denounce Xie Jinglan. She set up private family rules, handled matters with extreme severity, and caused a huge scene at Zui Chunfeng. She is ruthless and cruel, and is the one who truly deserves to be punished.
Is General Huo referring to that night at Zui Chunfeng? When I arrived, General Huo was drunk and out of control, and the room was already in utter ruins. I took him away to stop the chaos, not to cause trouble.
You lie. That was clearly your...
He only wants to use the divorce as an excuse to bite my father back and cover up his own misdeeds. Everything my father said is fully verifiable. I beg your majesty to look into this.
Huo Changting, General of Agile Cavalry, has neglected his duty. For his involvement in the northern border military chaos, he is stripped of all official ranks immediately and sent to the imperial prison to await trial and further discussion. Lady Xi has brought the truth to light, preventing further trouble in our military affairs. She is rewarded with 1,000 taels of gold and 100 bolts of brocade as a token of appreciation.
Xie Jinglan, you are truly vicious. Even as a ghost, I will never let you go.
Huo Changting, do you remember what I told you about the fate of the women in my father's back courtyard? Don't worry, you won't die so quickly. You will have plenty of time in the imperial prison. Enough for you to think things through slowly.
Hey, did you hear? The General of Agile Cavalry has been imprisoned. The Huo family is about to fall.
Madam, no, master. The manor is in chaos. Many people have run off with valuables, and some things are missing from the storeroom. Also, regarding the old madam, when the old madam heard the general was imprisoned, she fainted on the spot. After waking up, she refused to eat and kept crying out to see the general. She even tried to force her way out, and the servants simply couldn't hold her back.
Xie Jinglan, you venomous woman. You harmed my son. Give me back my son.
Huo Changting's fall from grace was decreed by His Majesty himself. What does it have to do with me?
You lie. If you hadn't presented that ledger in court, how could Changting have ended up like this? You forged the evidence.
Whether the evidence is true or false is for the imperial court to decide. If you do not accept this, you are welcome to beat the Dengwen drum and appeal directly to the emperor.
What sins on earth did our Huo family commit to marry such a jinx like you?
You jinx. That the Huo family has come to this today is a sin Huo Changting brought upon himself.
What on earth do you still want to do? Are you trying to drive the entire Huo family
to ruin? Pass on my order. All servants in the manor must gather in the front yard within 1 hour. Anyone who does not show up will be reported to the authorities as a runaway slave.
Yes.
From this day forward, this manor belongs to me, Xie Jinglan. For those who wish to stay, the rules remain the same, and monthly wages will be paid as usual. Those who do not wish to stay may leave right now. I will absolutely not stop you. But if anyone bites the hand that feeds them by stealing things from the manor, or harbors other treacherous thoughts in secret, they will end up just like them. Sure enough, now that he has fallen, those creditors will soon come knocking on the door. Though, they won't be looking for me, but the Huo family.
Old Master Huo, the debts your son owes. If you don't pay us back today, we are not leaving. Don't even think about dodging this. Old Master Huo, don't play deaf and mute.
My lady, the first batch of creditors has already arrived at the ancestral Huo residence. I heard the old master collapsed on the spot.
Samanen has to pay the debts his son owes.
The Huo family is now selling off their lands and pawning their grain, but I'm afraid that deficit cannot be filled.
It is only natural they can't fill it, the Huo family.
Niece-in-law, no, Madam Xi, I beg you to show some mercy. Give the Huo family a way to survive.
A way to survive? What does the Huo family's survival have to do with me?
The Huo family really can't hold on much longer. The creditors are pressuring us for debt every single day. The lands and shops have almost all been sold off. The old master has also fallen ill. We can barely even scrape together the money for his medicine.
Then you should go find Huo Changting. He is the one who incurred the debt, and he is the one who caused this disaster.
We can't even see him. Madam, you are highly regarded by His Majesty now.
As long as you, why should I speak up for you? In all the years since I married into the Huo family, have you ever shown me a single shred of kindness? When Huo Changting wanted to take concubines, you forced me to be generous. When Huo Changting frequented brothels, you blamed me for being jealous. Now that Changting has fallen from grace and is imprisoned, and you can no longer survive, you finally think of me.
Madam, as long as you are willing to show mercy. We are willing to hand over all remaining assets of the Huo family to you. We only beg you to leave a way out for the Huo family, young and old. All the land deeds, property deeds, and shop deeds are right here. Everything left of the Huo family is right here.
Master, indeed, this is the very last of the Huo family's assets. A few remote farming estates, 2 deficit-ridden shops, and the Huo family's ancestral mansion. That is all.
That is all indeed. The rest has already been liquidated to pay off debts.
Fine, I accept them. But I only take the properties, not the freeloaders. The survival of the Huo family, from now on, has absolutely nothing to do with me.
Madam, what do you mean by that?
What I mean is, take this bit of dignity and get out. Transfer all of these to my name, sell what should be sold, and repair what should be repaired. Keep the Huo family's ancestral mansion for now. Do not touch it for the time being.
Yes, as for the old master,
move her to the most remote courtyard. Leave 2 people to tend to her. Don't let anything happen to him, but don't let him be an eyesore either, yes?
How is Xie Jinglan forcing her husband, seizing properties, and oppressing her in-laws?
Master, the rumors outside are getting worse and worse. They say you bring ruin to your husband, that you are cursed by fate, and that someone like you is bound to face divine retribution sooner or later.
If there truly is divine retribution, the first one to be struck by lightning should be Huo Changting. A man so faithless, ungrateful, and utterly blind to his own errors. How could it ever be my turn?
But if things continue like this, it won't be a viable long-term solution after all. Madam, you are still young. Do you really intend to spend the rest of your life alone?
Is being alone not good? I don't have to serve a man, nor do I have to fight for affection out of jealousy, and I don't have to worry about who is giving birth, who is raising whom, or who is favored. I can do whatever I want, and go wherever I please. Living like this is thousands of times better than being bound to a half-hearted man. It is infinitely superior.
I am only worried that you will be lonely, madam.
I still have all of you loyal servants. Why should I ever feel lonely?
Yes. Madam, Prince Duan has arrived.
Madam Xie, I heard that your place is quiet and peaceful, so I came specifically to ask for a cup of tea.
Please forgive me, Your Highness. My household consists entirely of women, making it inconvenient to receive male guests. If Your Highness wishes to drink tea, there are many tea houses in the city.
Xie Jinglan, don't be so ungrateful. My willingness to come here is a favor to you.
Thank you for your high regard, Your Highness. However, I cannot accept this favor. Please return, Your Highness.
Presumptuous! How dare you be so insolent to His Highness?
What kind of creature are you, to think you are worthy of raising your voice in front of my manor?
Fierce indeed. No wonder Huo Changting couldn't tame you, but I happen to like women like you. Xie Jinglan, let me make myself clear today. If you are willing to follow me and become my secondary consort, you will enjoy endless wealth and glory in the future. But if you refuse, your manor, your shops, and even your noble title, it will be hard to say if you can keep them safely.
Is Your Highness attempting to abduct a lady of respectable standing?
I am offering you a way out. A divorced woman like you holding on to all this will be targeted sooner or later. Following me is your only way out.
The way out Your Highness speaks of is using power to force others to submit.
Xie Jinglan, my willingness to have you is your blessing. Don't refuse my offer.
And push your luck. I don't want this blessing.
Take her.
Is Prince Duan going to take her by force? No matter how capable Lady she is still just a woman, but she even managed to suppress Huo Changting.
Xie Jinglan, I am giving you one last chance. Come with me willingly, and I will protect this manor for you. If you don't, do you really think these few people can protect you?
How many men did Your Highness bring today?
What, are you scared?
No. I just wanted to see if these men are enough to humiliate you.
Stop her! Protect me! Protect me!
For 10 years, marrying Huo Changting for 10 years, I hid my sharp edge and learned to be a proper lady of a prestigious family, learned to be submissive, and learned to trap myself in rules. But deep in my bones, I have never been the kind of person to let others push me around.
Don't come any closer. I am a prince. I am the emperor's younger brother. If you dare touch me...
Wasn't your highness quite formidable just now? Didn't you also say you'd turn my manor into ruins?
It is a misunderstanding, all a misunderstanding, Lady Xie. I was just speaking in anger just now.
Your highness. I hate being threatened the most. Your highness, do you still think I must accept this blessing?
I am the emperor's brother. How dare you hurt me?
You brought men to block my manor gates today and publicly coercing a titled lady of the court. Do you think it is me or yourself who harmed you? Tie him up, then send someone to the palace to report this. Say Prince Duan forced and pressured a titled lady in public and was stopped by the guards of my manor. Ask His Majesty to make the decision. Does anyone else want to speak up for Prince Duan? Close the gates.
By command of heaven, the emperor decrees. Prince Duan harassed a titled lady, instigated others to pressure her, and lost his decorum in public. He is hereby stripped of his title and placed under house arrest by imperial order.
Madam, it is just as you predicted.
Prince Duan never had the emperor's favor to begin with. I merely handed the blade to the person who wanted to use it.
Madam, are you Xie Jinglan? Madam Xie.
Does the young master know me?
Who in the capital does not know Madam Xi's name? I am Su Jinhe, from Suzhou, visiting the capital to study. Meeting you today by chance, madam, is truly my good fortune.
Young Master Su, peach blossoms for the beauty.
These flowers suit you well, madam.
Young Master Su, do you know what kind of person I am?
I know you dare to love and dare to break away, fearing neither rumors nor societal conventions. I, Jinhe, admire you deeply.
Is it admiration or curiosity?
It is adoration. I take the liberty of asking you, madam, the beautiful landscapes of this world and the warmth of ordinary life, would you be willing to share them with me?
Young Master Su, you are a very good man, but I prefer to see the world's landscapes on my own. And I prefer to walk this path of life by myself.
Madam, that young Master Su truly seems to be a good man.
Yes, which is exactly why he shouldn't be dragged into this. My life has been chaotic enough. For the road ahead, I want to walk it in peace on my own. I do not want a man, nor do I want to depend on anyone. From beginning to end, all I want is my own life.